What's up everybody? Welcome to Sweet Science with Streetz. I'm Ian Streetz. Today we're going to be going over the 10 most common mistakes with the jab. Let's get started. First of all, what is the jab? The jab is a straight punch with our front hand, okay? So if we are right-handed, that's going to be with our left hand. If we're left-handed, that's going to be with our right hand. So it's going from point A to point B and back again. That's very, very important, and it's something that doesn't happen a lot of the time when people are starting to learn the punch. So the first mistake I would say is winding up the punch. So my hand is at the front. What people do is they feel like it's weak, it travels less distance than this rear hand. So what they try and do is wind it up and throw. So if you're looking at the front, there's a lot of time before that punch comes out. So you're seeing it come a long time before the shot is actually thrown, and that's a big, big mistake. Obviously that's going to lead to you being counter-punched. As soon as I do this, I'm going to eat a shot. If I do throw the punch, it's going to be a terrible shot. It's just going to touch them rather than hit them, okay? Mistake number one, don't wind up your jab. Second up, people start getting used to the punch going out nice, then it comes time to bring the hand back to where it came from, and they drop their hand down. Or they're almost like a cat scratching at a door. So instead of driving forward with their knuckles, what they do is they almost slap down. So if you see that side on, punch goes out, hand drops down, obviously that's when I'm gonna eat the shot there. So it's very, very important, as we said before, point A to point B and back again. Not point A to point B, going the scenic route down to C and then back to A, okay? And that's super, super important when we start throwing combination punches, because if I'm jabbing, dropping my hand, and let's say I'm going to throw a hook, already that hook is going to be terrible because it's coming from the wrong position. Rather than if I can get into the habit of bringing my hands back to my face, every shot that follows is going to be much better for it, okay? So mistake number two, don't drop your hand on the way back. Mistake number three, we don't want to be dropping that other hand. That leaves us very open to a counter shot. So the punching hand is going straight out, it's coming straight back. The other hand is being glued to our face. Number four would be not using your reach. If I'm using my reach, I can get a much longer punch than if I shorten my shot and I just do this. You see how it doesn't travel much distance compared to a nice, long, reaching shot, okay? So the aim is to get my shoulder to my jaw and back again with the other hand up, because I want to create almost a roll cage. I'm protected on this side by my shoulder, I'm protected on this side by my hand. If I'm not using my full reach and I'm just kind of like extending my arm, there's a really big opening here to be hit, okay? So what I want to do is make sure that I use that reach, because the other thing is boxing is the art of hitting without getting hit. If I'm not using my reach, that generally means that I'm too close to my opponent. It means rather than being in a position where, for example, I might use a stiff jab, we're going to cover that in our jab variations, but that is where I go in, do the work, come back out before they can hit me. If I'm throwing a short shot, I have to travel even further. There's more chance of me being hit. Or if I'm not using that footwork at all to get into range and I'm throwing short punches, that means I'm continually in a position where that person can very easily hit me. That's not somewhere I want to be, okay? So mistake number four is make sure that you use that full reach. Number five is a big one, and it's the old chicken wings, okay? So what people tend to do when they're jabbing is they'll flare out that elbow and almost try and like bench press or push. A push is not a punch, and it doesn't matter how well you do this part, it doesn't matter how well the punch goes out, if it doesn't come back, snapping a shot is what makes it a sharp, snappy, powerful shot. If I just go, that's pushing. You wouldn't put your hand out and just walk into your opponent. So don't expect to just focus on this bit and it be a good shot. So if you're flaring your elbow out and pushing, for a start, you're giving them a tell. They're going to see this and they're going to counterpunch you. Or you're also leaving your body very open, which is why with our elbows tucked in, the extra benefit, we all imagine we almost have a fat belly and we're resting our elbows on that belly. The punch goes out and the punch rests back on that belly. It goes out and it comes back. What that means is I'm keeping nice and tight. Like this, the more separation there is from my shoulder to my jaw, more chance of being counterpunched, but also more chance that I'm going to lose power into my shoulder joint. If I'm nice and stacked, my shoulder, my knuckles are all in a line, I'm a lot stronger. And you can test this out. Go against a wall, ask someone to push against you with your hands here compared to with your elbow flared out, and see how much weaker you are like that, okay? So mistake number 5 is flaring those elbows out. Keep them tucked in, throw that jab nice and straight, bring it back in nice and tight. It's going to improve your jab a lot. Number 6 is overturning the foot. So what we'll see people doing is they'll really be twisting that front foot when they throw the jab. It comes from a good place because they know they want to be turning their foot when they throw the other punches. But on the jab, they're over twisting. Generally speaking, your power will go where your foot points. So because I want my power going forward on a jab, I don't want to be twisting my foot out this way. I want it to be facing forward, planted, and just getting that snap from the twist of my hip and my shoulder, okay? So don't over twist that foot when you're throwing your jab. You're going to lose a lot of power. You're going to make the shot a lot bigger than it needs to be. They're going to see it coming and they're going to counterpunch. Number 7 is the good old person rocks up to the gym, they're a beginner, they should be focusing on the basics. First thing they do, they come out like this. They've seen a YouTube video and they think they're the next Mayweather. I'd hate to break it to you, you're not Mayweather. Not many people are. There's things he could get away with. I'm not saying this style doesn't work. I'm just saying it does take practice. We'll also cover this in future tutorial videos, but people see it, they tuck the arm underneath, the chin's up in the air, they don't really know what's going on. Don't do that. I'm not saying there's no space for it, but please, first of all, focus on the basics and then work your way up, okay? And if you are gonna do it, make sure you research properly. As soon as you see someone's arm tucked underneath the other, that jabbing hand is useless. Don't do that, okay? Number 8 is not varying the tempo, the timing, the height, or the speed of the jab, okay? So it doesn't matter how well you do something. If you always do it in the same way, your opponent is going to get a read on it. It's very important that you change it up a little bit. We're going to be covering this in future videos. We're going to be going over the variations, how to implement fakes, how to change tempo, how to change angle, things like that. But all of those are things that should be going through your mind once you start getting the hang of the jab. So obviously this is for people that are a little bit more intermediate to advanced, people that are applying the jab, okay? So if I'm always doing this, the person is going to get used to that jab coming out, they're going to get used to speed, they're going to start parrying it, they're going to start slipping it, they're going to start setting me up for shots. Sometimes I might just tap out the jab, then boom, I'll sit on one. Then I might change the angle. I might change the angle another way. I might change the height, start going down to the body. By keeping people guessing, it's a lot harder to get a read. If you do the exact same thing every time, it's a lot easier to get a read. So this is, once you start applying the jab, once you're comfortable with the basics and mechanics of it, start using your mind to take it to that extra level. Number 9 again is a more intermediate to advanced one. It's once where perhaps using it in sparring scenarios or on the pads or even in a fight, is not thinking defensively after the shot. So very often people will be so focused on their offense that they forget the defense. The worst place to be after you throw a punch is where you threw that punch from. Because even if you hurt someone, that person is going to punch where they think you are. And where they think you are is wherever you threw that shot from. So if you throw a great punch and then you just stop in the middle, there's a high chance you're going to eat a shot. So once you're comfortable with the jab, remember, afterwards you want to be trying to get your head off the line or changing your position, changing your height, something. Just don't throw the shot and switch off. That's when you're going to get hit by silly shots that are easily avoided, okay? So think defensively after your punch. Don't be too focused just on the offense. Remember, hit and don't get hit. So once you've hit, focus on not getting hit so that you can hit them again, okay? Finally, number 10. Number 10 is when people just disregard the jab, and you'll see it very often. First fights are filled with it. People, chin goes up in the air, instinct comes back out. They completely forget they have a jabbing hand. They're just trying to knock people out with big haymakers and swinging shots. It's chess, not checkers. Set them up. Position before submission. get them in a good position, and the way you're going to do that is with your jab. Set up those shots and then create openings, okay? Don't just expect to be able to hit people. You need to tell a story and change the ending. So maybe I'll jab up high, then I'll jab down low. I'll fake that low and go high. Then once I've done that, I'll fake down low and I can start hitting them with other shots, okay? Make sure you're utilizing your jab. To disregard it is doing yourself a massive, massive, massive disservice. It's a brilliant punch. It's probably your most useful punch, arguably, because, as I said, it's not too committal. Some of the other shots, they're super powerful, they're super effective, but if you miss, you can put yourself in a compromised position. The jab is relatively straight line, and after you've done it, it's quite easy to put yourself in a safe position, and it's a good way to just gauge, does my opponent, if I jab, do they put their head out to the side? Okay, I know maybe I'm gonna fake a jab. When they move their head, I'm gonna throw a hook. Do they pull back? Then I might fake. When they pull back, I'm gonna step through with that right hand. Do they cover up like this? That means their body's exposed. So maybe I'll touch and I'll go to the body. Do they flinch and put their chins up? Then I'm gonna throw an overhand. You can start getting a read for it. We're gonna cover all of this. But as I said, just focus on the basics for now. Number 10, remember your jab. All right, guys, well, I hope you found some of that useful. As always, comment below, let me know if there's anything else you want to cover, anything that you agree with, anything you disagree with, anything you think I missed off the list. Always here to listen, always here to help if I can. So keep up the training, guys. Remember, it is the sweet science. Don't just throw those hands, use this as well. Up that game, and I look forward to seeing you guys soon. All the best.